Hello, my beautiful peoples. The plan for today is to read for you the prologue of my story, Halo's Rust 2, and after that, a poem I wrote for my grandma's passing. The prologue showcases how I write dialogue, set moods, and tend to narrate my stories, which are the parts that I consider to be the most distinctive in my writing. Let's get into it. Dante wandered aimlessly around his bedroom, shifting things a centimeter or two at a time. His jacket, a red and off-white Letterman with an F marking its front left panel, was buttoned around him but hung loosely off his small form. He could hear people talking softly in the living room. He sat on his bed. He still stayed in the family house despite hitting 16 4 years ago, because his dad had pulled some strings. He would stay there until he replaced an elder and got a big residence of his own. He turned the picture of his uncle that his aunt had drawn down onto its face. "Virgil!" His mom's shrill voice made him jump, and he watched his bedroom door. "Virgil, come out here! There are guests!" He heard his dad's lumbering steps come into the living room, then his voice sounding off much softer than it normally would. Dante laid down to read a book, but no matter how many times he scanned the words on the page, he wasn't able to make sense of them. He eventually tossed it on the floor in frustration and curled his arms around his head. He stared out the window that faced the walls of the dome. He felt 4 years old again, staring out that window after his dad said he was too tired to be around him, seeing that mermaid looking back at him. She had been so beautiful, but right now he wished for anything that he hadn't seen her, that he hadn't gone out excitedly to tell his dad, that he hadn't gone along with what he was asked to do after that. He didn't even know if he was meant to be a grand elder. Maybe it was just another thing to keep him in line. He didn't notice when the guests left, but a soft knock made him come back to reality. "Dante, I brought food for you, sweetheart." His mom gently spoke through the door. "Did you heat it up?" "I did. Do you do anything else with your food?" "You should know. You're my mom. You would know if you had bothered to be around, bothered to be my mom instead of pawing me off to your brother." He shouted at the door, getting tears in his eyes. "Dante." He hesitated. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. No, I don't do anything else with it." "Okay, do you want me to come in?" He went to the door and opened it to look up at his mom. She held food and a fork. He took it. "Thanks." "You're welcome. Are you alright all alone back here?" "I'm fine, Mom." "Are you sure? You haven't come out of your room since your uncle went to see the sun." "Since he died. Don't be squeamish about it. He died. He's not seeing the sun. He's not seeing anything. He's gone." She pressed her lips together, then nodded and walked away. He shut the door and set the container by the downturned drawing. He wasn't interested in either right now. And that's the end of the prologue. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to read more, there's a link to my Wattpad in the description. This poem shows how differently I write poetry, the most obvious part being that I tend to write poetry in first person and stories in third person. While the prologue demonstrates how I show emotions and characters, the poem gives a look into my personal life and how I process and feel emotions. Why did you have to leave? And why now? Why am I going to party after party to celebrate extended lives when you didn't get the same? How could they be born when you died? How come I never knew you? How come you kept yourself from me, supposedly until I was 18, and then you didn't make it that long? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you leave me a note? Why did you leave me? When I think of you, I think of a tree in a golden meadow with baby dragons playing in its boughs. But when I think of you, I should be thinking of your smiling face. I should be thinking of your brown hair that never got the chance to turn silver. I should be thinking of the things you made, the sculptures you carved, the canvases you painted, the jokes you told, the songs you sang, the lives you changed. When I think of you, I think of a tree. You told me that's what you wanted to be after you were gone and had started anew. But I wish I had known who you were then.